This is True Crime Tradies. Listener discretion is advised. Pussies.
Hey everybody, welcome back to True Crime Tradies. I am JB, and as always, I have my life partner, Chris, with me. How you doing, mate?
Good, mate. Good. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I said life partner, but does that sound less gay or more gay?
More?
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
It's like when people says, me and my partner, and then for the next 30 seconds in your mind going, are they saying partner because they're gay, or are they just saying partner because that's how they refer to their significant other? I always have that conundrum in my mind and go, okay, don't talk about it again. I never want to say he or she just in assumption and then I'll get it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're putting you in the unknown straight away. They're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
I
don't like that.
No.
I don't like it. And also, I have a bit of a PSA, and that's if you don't mind me using this forum to air our grievances with the audience. I'm sure you don't.
It's our podcast. We can do whatever we want.
That's true. I want to make sure you're cool with it. But I just wanted to say to the people out there, if you have a tradie working at your house, and I don't care if it's a carpenter, plumber, electrician, don't watch them work. And I don't care if they're working in your bedroom. Hide your toys before they get there. Like we had a client today, and they're lovely clients. Well, we really like them, but they are what we call watchers. And when I say watchers, I'm talking about pulling up a chair and sipping a coffee type watcher.
It's so awkward.
It's so awkward. And what made it today like even worse, at some point the client said, "Oh, you must hate it when clients sit and watch you." and then proceeded to stay there and watching us still. I'm like, mate, can you go away? And then I think you had said something along the lines of, "Oh, it's okay, but unless we're making mistakes." But that's the problem. It makes us make mistakes. Don't do it. It makes us nervous, and we're more likely to make mistakes in front of you.
Puts the pressure on them.
It does. Well, I'm glad I got that off my chest because it's been bothering me. And I just feel like the people out there who aren't tradies and you have people working at the house need to know.
They do need to know.
Do not watch them.
Yeah.
We're not all scumbags. I mean, we sometimes look through your knicker drawers, but not always.
Not every time, yeah. Yeah. These clients were super nice. They meant well. So it was hard to say, do you mind pissing off? Like,
yeah. And they were just so in awe with what we're doing. Like,
I think that's more what the case was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Because we're that good. But I think we can move on from that now. And I think it's time for another edition of Would You Rather? And it's my turn this week.
We had a good response from it last week, so we're gonna keep it around.
We did. I'm enjoying it. It's something different, and I'm going to get into it straight away. So are you ready for it?
No.
Okay. All right. You can stop a serial killer right now, but it guarantees someone you love becomes their final victim. Or let the killer continue and your loved one stays safe.
Oh, okay, so I save a family member and they keep killing?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes. So you're either sacrificing a loved one for future victims or giving, or you're saying screw you, future victims.
Is it an immediate family member? Is it not like the drunken uncle or anything like that, is it?
Otherwise, we'd be like, they can take you.
Is it like my wife or kids?
See, I don't want to say kids because I think kids is an instant, no, I'm not giving up my kids, but I think wife is still on the table to maybe give up. As horrible as that sound. I think, okay, it's your wife. It's your wife.
I'd 100% save my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat.
And then I'd put my head in the sand and just try not to think about all the other people getting killed.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. It sounds like an easy one, but you really sit and think about it, it's not that easy.
It's not, no.
No. When I was at the police academy, we talked about unconscious biases a lot. Like we had specific classes about it because everyone, I don't care who you are, has an unconscious bias. You know, like you with. So we did these scenarios where
you can't put that in.
I had it written down, and I thought he's not going to let me keep that.
No. There's certain lines that we walk across.
I know. So we did these scenarios where we would need to save someone from, I think it was a bushfire, and we'd be given job titles like this guy's a garbage truck driver with 3 kids, but the other guy across the street is a doctor. Real headfuck type scenarios. But when it came to choosing someone over your loved one, I could just never get past it. It was always saving the loved one every single time because just the heartstrings would be pulling.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're going to have to live with that immediate guilt every single day. I know something's terrible that other people are getting murdered, but I don't know them. So you can kind of get past it a little bit easier.
Yeah, you can still sleep at night. Yeah. That's just like watching these documentaries. Oh, man, that's really sad. As soon as the documentary's finished, we turn it off. We're like whistling down the hallway.
Yeah. Next.
It just, yeah. And thankfully, these are just hypotheticals and we'll never have to be in that situation. But anyway, mate, well, speaking of casual racism, what do we have today?
Great segue. This one is called Capturing Their Killer, The Girls on the Bridge.
Delphi's a small town.
It's just a good, wholesome area to be in. At least it used to be.
Abby and Libby had gone on a walk, but when we went to pick them up, they weren't there.
When the bodies were found, it felt different than any crime scene I've ever seen.
There were hallmarks that suggested some ritualistic activity.
Was this a satanic type killing?
A symbol on the tree done in the victim's blood.
The person that did this to these girls is pure evil.
This case became such a global story.
She captured the image of her own murderer.
What if somebody I know did this?
Had it not been for the voice, Richard Allen might never have been caught.
Here's the rest of the story. Here's what they didn't tell you.
My name is Kathy Allen, and I am the spouse of Richard Allen.
Okay. Go ahead, Kathy.
Yeah. I just remember my husband, Ricky, was like, why was that on the trail? First time I saw the picture, it really could have been anybody.
When I heard Rick Allen was arrested, I was shocked.
You're not going to find anything that ties me to those murders, so I'm not really that concerned.
That Libby was able to get the video was very amazing.
It made me sick to my stomach to actually be looking at a picture of him.
I'm grateful that we got justice when we did.
Richard Allen is guilty and always will be.
We were all super close friends.
They were robbed and we were all robbed.
It's never going to be the same.
People took sides. This guy's innocent.
There were dozens of viable suspects.
I want true justice for Abby and Libby, but it should not be at the expense of an innocent person.
We know this bridge guy took the girls, and they proved Richard Allen was bridge guy.
So Delphi, it's a little quaint small town community which only has about 3,000 people in it. It's pretty slow paced and it has lots of trails to walk on, fishing, there's kayaking, hiking, and most importantly, the crime rate is actually pretty low.
Yeah, they call it the baking capital. And you can tell by some of the people that they interview for this documentary that it's the baking capital.
Wow. So this story, I mean, it's a super famous story. It's about Abby and Libby, who were 13 and 14 years old. And these guys were just absolute best friends. They would try and spend every moment they could with each other. And we actually hear a lot from both of their parents in this doco. But we also hear a fair bit from Libby's grandparents, Mike and Becky, because both of Libby's parents actually spent time in jail. So Libby was raised by her grandparents. I found it quite odd when Libby's mum, Carrie, she got out of prison and she moved to Kentucky, not back to Delphi to be closer with her daughter. I thought that was odd.
Yeah, and they don't go into why she was incarcerated, what she was incarcerated for. I'm guessing meth had something to do with it, or drugs. She's got that vibe about her. But look, thank God for the grandparents.
They seem amazing.
Oh, yeah, and by the way, it looks like Libby's grandma got herself a nice little toy boy there as well, because he's either getting Botox or he's like 20 years younger than her.
They look amazing.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
Young. Yeah. So I know Libby's mum, she had Libby very, very young. So these guys, they wouldn't be old grandparents anyway.
No, that's true.
But yeah, I'm with you. I want to know why her parents were in prison. I'm so nosy like that. I want the goss.
Mrs. Mangle.
Libby was 3 years old when they moved in with us, and we had the honor to raise them.
Libby knew that I was intent on moving back to Indiana. And Libby and I talked all the time on the phone. She wanted everyone to be laughing all the time and always wanted everyone to be happy.
So Abby's mum, Anna, is in this as well, as we said. And I have to say, both these girls, they look so much like their mums. You can tell immediately whose is whose. Anna, like Lou's mum, she had her pretty much straight out of high school as well. And she was incredibly loved by her family, especially that she was the first grandchild.
Well, Abby was the very first grandchild in our house, and she was the best thing. You'd be hard-pressed to find someone that didn't just love her. Abigail liked music and liked to read. She really liked to read. She was smart and kind and considerate and very affectionate. Abby had a very eccentric taste in her clothing. She liked a lot of bright colors. She was, I wouldn't say timid, but just very soft-spoken.
Abby was very friendly, and I think that's why her and Libby clicked so well, is just they were very, very nice people and loved everybody.
Abby's mum describes the tragic day of February 13th, 2017, as there was a definite before and after this day, because for them and everyone around them, their lives completely changed from this day. Apparently, everyone had the day off school that day, according to one of the girls' friends, who, I'm going to say, she is the weirdest looking creature you have ever seen. She's got like this big round face and these beady little eyes.
I was so nervous when I saw her come up on screen. I messaged you straight away. I said, I cannot wait what you've got to say about this chick. And you were like, oh, I'm not going to be really that mean. And then you just said she has a big round face and beady little eyes. You shouldn't be throwing stones, by the way. Doesn't your grandma have a round head and beady eyes?
Yeah, she does. She does. Yeah, she does have a big round face, but all of her facial features of my grandma are in the center of her face. She almost looks like she could be trained on Thomas the Tank Engine.
Only needs one goggle when she swims in a pool.
Yeah, you know.
I gotta say, I gotta say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, though. You know that.
Oh, thank God this is audio medium only. So Abby had stayed the night at Libby's house the night before, and the weather was really good. So they wanted to go out on this trail that was in town. And the trail leads from the town to is it Monon High Bridge?
Yeah, go with that.
Something like that, yeah. And this is kind of where the teenagers would go to get away from their parents and act up a little bit. And I'm going to say, this bridge, it looks so fucking high and it looks rickety as all hell. Like, it's got planks missing. It looks like one of those types of bridges that would be in Indiana Jones or something like that.
Yeah, it reminded me of the movie Stand By Me when they're running from the train. Do you remember that movie? Do you remember that scene?
We didn't have that in New Zealand, no.
Yeah, we don't have movies in New Zealand.
We had Foot Rock Flats and Once a Warriors. That was it.
The Monon High Bridge was kind of like a place away from our parents where we could go and mess around. It was very secluded, but it was very pretty.
So Libby organises for her older sister to drop them off at the start of the trail, and she'd organise her dad to pick them up afterwards. They got dropped off at around 1:30 in the afternoon, and Libby's dad was going to pick them up around 3:30, but they're not there. And Libby, she isn't answering her phone either. Her dad's walking up and down the trail, and they're just nowhere to be seen. So he calls Libby's grandma, Becky, and he's panicking because it's not like her to not answer her phone. It's really out of character. Abby's mum gets a phone call as well about the girls being missing, but she wasn't overly concerned, and she thought the girls, they'll probably just mucking around and they just lost track of time or something. But Libby's parents, they weren't so blasé about it, so they went down the track immediately.
Yeah, because what teenage girl doesn't answer their phone? I think that for me, that's big red flag. Back then, they wouldn't have, like, say, Life 360 as well. I know our family has Life 360. We can see where our kids are at all times. My wife can also see where I am at all times, which is a bit dangerous. But yeah, I think for me, if my daughter wasn't answering her phone and I'm calling repeatedly, I'm going out and searching straight away.
Yeah, definitely.
Mike and I went to the trails and we got out and walked a little bit, didn't see them. And finally, I said, I think we need to call the police because it's going to be dark soon.
So Libby's granddad calls the local police department around 5:15 in the afternoon, which is, it's how it should be. Like, if they're not in contact in a few hours and they're in a forest as well, I'd be calling the cops straight away as well. Like, I'm right there with you. So the deputies, they head straight down there and they're walking the trails looking for these two girls. And by 7 p.m., it's blasting on social media. They're trying to get the word out about them being missing. They start getting phone calls and messages from the public saying, hey, I think I saw them here. I think I saw them there. But then they get a screenshot of a Snapchat photo that Libby took at 2:07 p.m., so about 5 hours earlier. And this photo was taken, as I said, from Libby, which showed Abby on this rickety bridge.
Around 2:07, Libby posted a picture of Abby to Snapchat.
Somebody sent it and said, hey, they were on the bridge.
Monon High Bridge. It's an old railroad bridge that's a very dangerous bridge to be walking on. It's very up high off the ground. It's got a creek that runs underneath it. The railroad ties have big gaps in between them. At that point, they started to look under the bridge, trying to locate the girls.
When Abby's mum saw the photo, she immediately thought, oh, Abby's going to be in trouble when she gets home. Because they're not supposed to be on this bridge. And after seeing it, I can fucking see why. I wouldn't let my kids on it either. But now it's getting pretty dark and the temperatures are dropping rapidly. And these girls, they're not dressed for the cold. They were just out for a couple of hour walk in the middle of the day.
Yeah, 100%. It's February and it's going to be freezing. Like you said, it's going to be dark soon. You see the video of them and they are not dressed for the cold at all.
Yeah. So the worry, I mean, it's really setting in for everybody now. Like the panic must be fucking crazy. The news ended up getting hold of the story and they put it on that night's news at 10 p.m. And this ends up being amazing because it gets everyone in the town down there with flashlights looking for the girls. So they're all there hunting, as long as possible. But because the terrain is pretty treacherous in this forest, they end up having to call the search off around about sort of midnight. And they said, all right, we'll set back up tomorrow morning as soon as the sun comes up. And they go to Libby's mum and I found it odd. She's like, oh, I was livid they called off the search. And, I mean, this is coming from the mum that spent time in prison and the grandparents are raising your daughter while you're living in another state. Like, all right, okay, bitch.
And I wouldn't even care if they called off the search. I'm still searching if that's my child. You police officers and your fireys, whatever, you can go home. But I don't care about the terrain. I am staying all night. Because I'll do all-nighters until they're found.
Yeah, and I'm sure the family and close friends definitely were. Like, I think it was just the search parties and the other people in town that might have said, "Oh, we'll come back in the morning." But as if you could go home and go to bed. No way.
Oh, hell no, no.
So the next morning on February the 14th, there's a bit of a strange feeling in the air, and it's not love from Valentine's Day, but people are walking around town with their head downs, and they've just got a bit of a fear that this might turn out really bad.
13-year-old Abigail Williams and Liberty German were reported missing yesterday.
Police continue to search for two teenage girls who went missing early yesterday.
It's been nearly 24 hours, of course, since they were reported missing.
Police, sheriffs, firefighters, and the Department of Natural Resources are all involved in the search for those teenagers right now.
The search obviously continues with the whole town chipping in when two searchers spotted some clothing down next to the creek. They searched down the creek a little bit further and they found the two missing girls. They told the parents and the grandparents that they'd been found and they were so excited. But that excitement, it didn't last because they realised that it was their bodies that had been found.
Yeah, that was hard, eh? And in my mind, watching this, and because hindsight's 2020, I'd be thinking, something terrible must have happened for them not to have returned in the first place, or not to have answered the phone or responded to people calling out. Because I feel if it was just one person, there would be hope, because maybe they just took a fall and is injured somewhere. But two people to go missing, that's completely different.
That's true,
Something's wrong.
Yeah, it would have gone through my mind that, possibly they fell off the bridge, but what's the chance of both of them falling off?
That's it. Yeah, one might have fallen off. Someone's going to go get help for them, that sort of thing. But yeah, two people, radio silence. Yeah, that doesn't bode well.
That's true.
I was excited. I went running over there and I said, they found him.
And it was not what we thought it was at all.
And she just kept crying and saying, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
But he didn't say anything. So are they okay? He said no.
The police suspect foul play, and they're treating it as a crime scene. And as we said earlier, the girls were found next to the creek. So Libby, she was the closest to this big tree, and Abby was off to her side a little bit. I found this part strange. Libby was completely nude, like no clothing whatsoever. Her injuries were really noticeable. She had blood around her neck and on her hands as well. And then she had these branches laid on top of her, almost in a bit of a hash sort of pattern.
Do you mean branches?
Sorry?
I love the way you say branches.
I'm only speaking the Queen's language, sir.
Oh, yeah. She had these branches laid on top of her. It's branches, mate. If you're going to be in Australia, you're going to talk like a bogan.
How do the English say it?
Pretty sure it's branches.
And who originated the language?
I don't care. Move on.
So the branches were on top of her. No, hush pattern. So Abby was off to the side of her, and she was fully clothed, but she was dressed in Libby's clothing. I found this so bizarre. She also had branches placed on top of her as well, but her one's in the shape of an A, almost.
Do you think that it could have been A for Abby?
Oh.
By any chance? That was just a thought that came across my mind when watching this. Does it look like an A? They show you a bit. They don't show you the crime scene photos, obviously, but they show you a bit of a sketch, bird's eye view of it. I think it just might be a stretch. Like they're looking for clues in what's probably a chaotic scene, and they're just looking for things. But I mean, if it's someone that knew her, put an A over the top of her, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really make that connection, but possibly. But I also, because you didn't see the crime scene photos, like you said, I wanted to see if those branches had if they were just like big sticks, or whether they had brush on them and they were just thrown on top of them just to try and cover the bodies up, and they just happened to fall into that pattern. You know,
that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. But yeah, you only see like an outline sketch of the scene.
Yeah.
It actually looked like the girls were moved a short distance from where the murder actually happened. There was drag marks along the ground from where obviously the killer dragged them to the next tree. There was also blood found on the tree, which was discovered to be Libby's blood. And some people thought it might have been a bit of a satanic killing, with the branches appearing to be symbols, like we said. And the blood on the tree, I think it was in the shape, was it in the letter F?
It looked that way. I don't know. It could be. I just think they're grasping here. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so too. So we end up hearing from the guy who performed the autopsy. What was his name?
Roland Shit.
Roland. What's his last name? Kohr. The fuck? Can we get a case of normal names?
Roland Shit, that'll do.
Yeah, so Roland Shit does the autopsy of the two girls, and he gives his speculation on a few things.
I've done over 7,000 autopsies, but in this case stands out. The fact that these were two teenage girls, that it was an outdoor scene in northern Indiana, we just don't see that sort of thing on a routine basis. This is purely speculative, but I'm going to guess probably that Abby was the first to die, and that after Libby saw that Abby had been killed, she realized this was a life or death struggle, which prompted her now to put up a fight, because obviously it's, do or die. Hence the reason she had to have multiple wounds across her neck. We found a single, roughly half-inch sharp force injury to the neck, deep enough to hit one of her jugular veins on Abby. I did not see anything to indicate any type of sexual assault. In the case of Libby, as far as I could tell, there was no evidence of a sexual assault with her either. That doesn't quite add up.
I found it so strange there was no sign of sexual assault, considering Libby was naked and then Abby was in Libby's clothes.
Yeah, that's one of the most mysterious things of this case. Yeah, and do you think this could have happened post-death? He's murdered them and then he switched the clothes? Or, because why would he bother getting Libby fully nude, or maybe both of them fully nude, right, for then not sexually assault them? And then Abby might have just chucked on Libby's clothes because they were sitting on the ground there because she was cold, or he instructed her to do it. It's just a bizarre point of the case where I just can't get my head around it.
Yeah, very bizarre. The only thing I possibly thought of is, he stripped them down, for a sexual assault, and then he sort of panicked, or he felt like someone was coming, and then he tried
that's true.
He tried to start dressing them, put the clothes obviously on the wrong person because he wouldn't know, and then he's like, oh fuck, I'm just out of time, or whatever. But I don't know, the whole thing is just odd. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. Libby had a total of 4 injuries to her neck, and they were described as serrated-like cuts. And Roland Shit describes the attack on Libby as a much more adrenaline-fueled attack compared to the wounds on Abby.
Yeah, and I assumed that the blood on Libby's hands was her own, and I was thinking maybe she'd been grabbing at her neck. Because she had, 4 knife wounds to her neck, which feels either overkill or there was a struggle. I'm sort of leaning towards a struggle, and then she's grabbed at her neck.
Yeah, I think so, because they don't mention any wounds on her hands, like defensive wounds on her hands. Just the blood, so that does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, there doesn't appear to be any other injuries except to both girls' necks. That's it.
Yeah. And the police, they're not wasting any time, and they ask the public to come forward if they have any information, or even if they might have seen someone around Monon High Bridge around that time. One of the locals, he actually comes forward to the police and he says, I was on the trail that day, but I didn't see the girls and I didn't really see anything suspicious either. So the cops, they take his details and it's just left at that. Both the girls' parents and grandparents, they're interviewed at length as well to make sure they didn't have anything to do with the murders. The cops are just doing their due diligence and just,
Yeah, I think that what the grandma mentions is that she thought they were being interviewed as witnesses or whatever, but then they came to realize, oh, hang on a minute, we're getting interrogated here.
Yeah, yeah. But of course you have to. You're close to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you work close and then you work your way out. So, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So the whole town, they're just devastated, and they felt there was a real change in the community after these murders, and probably even worse because they're no closer to finding out who killed the girls. The police, they're keeping their details of the murder pretty close to their chest. I think sort of half because they're trying to use it to catch the right person, but also because it was just such a brutal murder of 2 young local girls as well.
I don't know how we got through it. I do remember we learned how Libby died because the funeral director told us we needed to bring in clothes, and he said you need to make sure you have a scarf. It took a while to hit me. Oh, she needs a scarf. Nobody would tell us, but that's how we figured it out.
The parents had to try and organise a funeral for their young kids. It must have been so difficult for them.
Yeah, it's just awful, isn't it? And I think Abby's mum says that the dumbest thing she ever had to do was to pick out a casket for Abby. I found that comment quite odd when I first heard it, but then when you think about it, yeah, that is dumb. It's just so, you can't imagine it because that is just awful to think about. And the reality is that, yeah, you need to do it. It's something you have to do, but it's something you don't want to face.
Yeah, we've said it before about burying your own kids. It's just not right. The police, they also attend the funeral and they're scanning around it for any suspicious people that might be there as well to try and get any clues. But they're still no closer to finding a suspect. And it's putting the whole town on edge. And I'm sure they had people higher up breathing down the necks to try and get this case solved. But out of nowhere, there's this big break in the case.
Tonight, new chilling evidence Indiana investigators believe could help them solve the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German.
They say one of the girls secretly recorded him before they were killed.
Shown in front of me an enlarged depiction of a person believed to be the suspect in this case. We are actively looking for this person.
This is the famous video and the short audio clip that Libby smartly recorded on her phone that shows the killer walking across a bridge right behind Abby, and he says, "Down the hill." I mean, it's so amazing that these girls had the presence of mind to record this. This video, it's actually 43 seconds long, and it seems like Libby was holding the phone down to her side, so she wasn't making it obvious that she was recording this guy. The girls, they were talking to one another about the path as the man approaches, and the girls end up saying, "Oh, hey," to him, and then that's when he says, "Down the hill."
The audio is also from Liberty's phone, and she had the presence of mind to have the phone on and to capture video as well as audio.
See, this is the path that we go down. There's no path going there, so we have to go down here. Hi.
Down the hill.
The video is really haunting, knowing what we now know, isn't it? I'd seen and heard the down the hill bit, and I'd seen snippet. I'd never seen the full video. So what can we gather from the video itself? Like, you can tell that the girls hadn't interacted with the perpetrator until he spoke, because they sort of seemed normal and happy up until that point. And I'm thinking he definitely had a firearm with him, because I can picture him pulling it out and just motioning to the girls with a gun and saying, "Guys, down the hill." Because they didn't say anything or anything after that. There's only about 2 seconds further to him saying, and they start walking, and then it cuts out.
Yeah, I agree with you as well. I reckon he did have a gun in his pocket.
Yeah, he must have enough to get their attention to scare the shit out of them straight away. Point down the hill, and that's all he says.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone is thinking this killer must be someone local because just of the bridge's location. It's not something that's really easily found if you didn't know the area that well. So everyone's now looking over their shoulder and they're becoming pretty suspicious of everyone in town. Well, I mean, every male at least from the video.
Yeah, of course. But then also you say it could be someone local, but it could also someone that knows them as well. Like whoever did this might have known the girls because they knew they were going to be at that location at that time. So it could have even been the father. But this guy on the bridge, he's so well disguised in a way. You don't see any facial features at all. You're going to see what he's wearing, and he's sort of got his head down. It's a pretty grainy image, at best.
Oh, it's amazing that we even got that. Like, I mean, you can tell she's holding the phone down at her hip and not pointing it at him. So it's amazing, yeah.
And if they had recognised them, they would have recognised beforehand. And so pretty far-fetched it was someone that they knew.
Yeah. They said earlier that this town has only got about 3,000 people in it. And, I mean, they know this person on the bridge is an adult male. So, I mean, it would immediately push their suspect pool down to about, 750 people? Like 1,000 people? Like once you drop out kids and females?
Yeah, true.
So surely you could ask people to come forward with like voluntary DNA samples and then you could narrow it down even further from that.
But is there DNA at the scene? Because I don't think there is. Because there's no sign of sexual assault. So unless the offender bled, like in this knife incident, what would they have?
Well,
you know what I mean?
The bodies were moved. They were dragged from the kill location.
That doesn't mean they're going to get DNA. The guy might have been wearing gloves or anything like that, And also, it's out in the elements, and they've been there all night, so they're not finding until the next day. So imagine the cold, and everything was against the investigators, the crime scene guys, to find anything of value. So I don't think there would have been any DNA or useful DNA anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, the FBI, they get involved and they offer a reward of $250,000 for any information that leads to an arrest. And they end up getting 11,000 tips from this.
Jesus.
I mean, there's only fucking 3,000 people in the town. How are they getting 11,000 tips?
Everyone gets interviewed.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
This is a huge task force that's created with even more agencies getting involved to try and solve it as quickly as possible. But they just still can't figure out who, I mean, we're going to nickname him Bridge Guy is. This is where a whole bunch of YouTubers and podcasters, wankers, get involved to try and figure out who this guy is. Because, I mean, the FBI can't figure it out. So, of course, some dipshit with a microphone is definitely going to be able to do it.
We have all the answers, okay? I mean, these guys are so cringe as well. There's this Tom Webster. He's a YouTuber, right? But he looks more like a lawyer the way he's dressed. But he looks like he could burst into tears at any minute. Did you notice that? Because it's almost like he's talking like, and he could just burst. I don't know if that's the way he was, or he was just super nervous about being interviewed, and this was his big time shot.
Yeah,
but
I thought the same thing. I'm like, how does this guy have a YouTube channel? Who's fucking watching this guy?
His presence wasn't great. And then we've got Ariel. She's an online sleuth. But she looked like she'd cut your dick off in your sleep. And she has this 1,000-mile stare about her, doesn't she? Like, she's real ditzy, the head to the side and eyes really wide. And look, my favourite of all of them, this
I know
guy,
who you're going to say.
Frank Meister.
Frank Meister. The producer goes, is that one word or two?
Yeah. He's another YouTuber, and he considers himself a true crime enthusiast. And this guy has definitely murdered at least 10 children himself. He says he has prioritized this case over family and friends. And when the producer asks him if he's become somewhat obsessed with the case, he just replies, no obsession with the case at all.
Whatever, Frank Meister.
Frank Meister. This bloke will definitely be a star on True Crime on the Spectrum if that ever comes to air.
True Crime on the Spectrum. I'd watch that.
I would too.
Oh, yes, not bad, not bad. Because it's gaining even more attention now from these podcast vultures and YouTube wankers, they now get 30,000 tips coming in about random men in town that are having fingers pointed at them for being child murderers with just no evidence and no basis whatsoever. Just people just blaming anyone and everybody.
Well, everyone wants to be the guy that solves the case.
That's 100% what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the locals, Kathy Allen, she said when she first saw the picture of Bridge Guy, she thought, well, it could be fucking anybody. Like, in this guy in the photo, he's wearing blue jeans, a dark blue jacket, and a beanie. As you said before, the image is pretty blurry, and you can't make out their face at all. I mean, you know it's a white guy, but that's about it. Like, it could be almost any male in this town.
The first time I saw the picture of Bridge Guy, it could have been anybody. It really could have been anybody.
In the beginning, I looked at everybody.
The feeling was always there of either running into somebody at the gas station or the grocery store.
You never knew if the person you just walked right past was, the person that did this.
It was like no one could trust anyone anymore, no matter how long you knew them, how close you were.
July 17th of the same year, so about 5 months after the murder, the police released a sketch of the suspect. And this came from a witness on the trail that day that saw a man, and they thought it resembled Bridge Guy.
Yeah, I'm watching the doco, and they show you the sketch, and then they immediately cut to the lead investigator. And I swear, if you put a hat on this guy, the sketch is him.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah. It's like that famous video with the news reporter with the rapist, and it comes on behind him. It's like, okay, we got him. He's here.
But just like every other avenue the police have gone down so far, this sketch, it just came up with nothing. And a year goes by, and then 2 years goes by, and then they release another police sketch of the suspect. And this time, it looks nothing like the first one did.
No, that's a joke.
The first one, it looks like a guy in his 50s with like straight scruffy hair and a goatee. And the latest sketch that they released, it looks like a guy who's in his 20s with neat curly hair and no facial hair at all. Like, these are two completely different people.
Yeah, it looks like Beavis from Beavis and Butthead, this second sketch.
To a major new development, police releasing a new sketch tonight.
They revealed this young guy sketch, whereas previously it was an older man, like 35 to 50, and this new sketch looked like a 20-year-old.
Why is this new sketch so vastly different than a sketch released nearly 2 years ago?
This is such a contrast from the first composite photo. Do you really expect us to buy this, that it's the same guy?
The witness that provided that second sketch said they came to the police with information on who they saw that day, and nothing further was done with it. They were super frustrated, and they felt like the police were dropping the ball on this whole case. The town they're really concerned about these two sketches as well, because they didn't feel confident that the police even had the shoes on their right feet, let alone being any closer to solving this case. Everyone had pretty much lost hope in the cops, and they're thinking this case, it just might not ever be solved. And back when all this was happening, I thought the same thing as well. I thought this was just going to be an unsolved case forever too. But 5 years after the murders, there's another break in the case. Don't tell me it's another fucking sketch.
Breakthrough in the Delphi double murder investigation.
This is a day more than 5 years in the making.
Now to a twist in a shocking crime story that's captivated so many for years. The tragic murder of two Indiana teens.
Since the murders of Abby and Libby, 2,086 days ago, the daily investigative team has worked tirelessly. I am proud to report that an arrest has been made.
They've made an arrest. It seems to have just come out of nowhere.
It does, and it had been 2,086 days with no apparent breakthroughs. And it sounded like I worked out the math for that, but they actually mentioned it had been 2,086 days in the documentary.
I was very impressed, JB.
Yeah, I'm not going to take credit for it.
And the suspect that they've arrested is Richard Allen. This was a guy that came forward, like, straight after the murders to tell the police that he was on the trails the same day but didn't see anything suspicious.
Yeah, he was talking to his wife that night and saw the news report on it and said to her, hey, I was on the trail that day. And she said, oh, maybe you should go down there. So we did.
Yeah, really open about it. And he said, just took my info and then that was it.
Yeah.
We also heard from Richards, or Rick as he goes by, his wife earlier in the doco as one of the locals, saying Bridge Guy could be anybody in town.
My name is Kathy Allen, and I am the spouse of Richard Allen. Ricky, he's my husband of 34 years. He is a family man. Ricky is a wonderful, caring, compassionate father. Non-judgmental, very giving. And he has good morals. How dare you accuse someone who is nothing but a people pleaser and works out in the public? How dare you?
Kathy doesn't believe for 1 second that they've got the right person. She agreed to be part of this doco because she wanted to bring light to it that she feels that they've arrested an innocent man.
Yeah, but the thing is, police have zero doubt that for them, this is the guy that did it.
Yeah, but she remembers, as you said before, that Ricky had the day off work that day that the girls went missing. And when she got home from work later on that day, that's when the news came on about the girls being missing from TV. And she says he was just as shocked as everybody. And then that's when he went down there. So, like, from her point of view, she's like, well, we were just trying to help out the case. Like, we want to get it solved just the same as everybody else in town.
Yeah, so initially I'm thinking, like, if he was involved, why would he inject himself in the investigation? Okay, put his hand up and go, I was there. But maybe I was thinking maybe it was like a double bluff type of thing. He thought if he got ahead of it, he wouldn't look suspicious because no doubt someone would have saw him down there that day.
Yeah,
like, or see that someone saw him or someone saw his car or whatever. So he's like, okay, I'm just going to get ahead of it, say I was down there, I don't look suspicious, and then move on.
Yeah, that's true. I can see that. So the police, they bring Ricky in for an interrogation and they ask him what he was wearing that day. Ricky says he was wearing blue jeans and a jacket, but I mean, it was so long ago, he can't remember what color it was. It could have been blue, could have been black. He's got no idea. They're adamant that Ricky is Bridge Guy. But Ricky, he's not concerned because he knows it isn't him and he had nothing to do with the murders. They don't arrest him that day, and they have to let him go. But the following day, they come to his house with a search warrant. Kathy, his wife, she's just absolutely beside herself, and she's so embarrassed that the neighbors are driving up and down the street while there's cops, like all in her yard, going through her house. And Ricky makes a bit of an odd comment to her. He says, well, it's over. It doesn't matter anymore anyway. Which, to me, that's a bit of a damning line.
Yeah, it is. And I'd also like to know what probable cause they had to search his property. He was on the trail that day, and he was wearing blue jeans. It doesn't seem to be enough, if you ask me. And I looked into it, and it was a major controversy afterwards was whether the affidavit admitted conflicting witnesses' descriptions and other potential exculpatory details. So Allen's defense later argued that the probable cause affidavit was misleading and it should invalidate the search. And I sort of know what they're saying here because, they left certain things out to make it look like this was their only guy so they could search the house. Because really, him being on the trail wearing blue jeans, not enough. Yeah. Definitely not enough.
Because that's definitely what it seems like that's all they've got at this stage.
Yeah.
During the search, they end up finding a blue zip-up jacket, and it kind of does resemble the one Bridge Guy was wearing. And they also take Ricky and Kathy's car away. Close to 2 weeks later, Ricky and Kathy, they go down the station to pick up their car. And while they're there, the police say to Ricky, hey, we just want to clear up a couple of things. So Ricky goes into a different room with them.
The 26th of October is when we went to pick up our car. We get asked if we could clear up a few things. Ricky's like, well, sure. Gives me, his coat and such, and goes into a room by himself.
Very early on in the investigation, there had been a bullet found down at the crime scene. The bullet was unspent. In other words, it had not been fired.
So let me show you a picture of this round. Where it was found, it's within 6 inches of one of the dead girl's bodies. The extraction marks on that round match your gun.
There's no way.
There is.
I'm telling you, there's not. I don't know how the round got there.
The scientific experts are saying, I got a report saying that round came from your gun.
Okay.
Listen, right now, like I said, I got a prosecutor and investigators ready to lock you up.
They're saying there was an unspent bullet casing laying on the ground about 6 inches away from the girls, and the extraction marks on the bullet match Ricky's gun. Ricky laughs and says, mate, there's no way that's his bullet. He's so confident. I wasn't there. You can say whatever bullshit you want. It's not me.
So they have me go in and sit down with Ricky.
Yeah. It's all right, babe.
My husband says to me, you know me. He goes, I'm not capable of something like that. And they finally, Holman came back in the room, and he started hollering at Ricky and slamming his fist on the table. He said, you're going to tell me you did it.
Because you're too fucking bullheaded to get out in front of this and admit that you made a mistake.
My husband's looking at me with these eyes like, I didn't do anything. And I had no reason to not believe him, none. No reason whatsoever.
Can you
please let my wife out?
Absolutely. Come on, Kathy.
I love you, baby. Can I kiss her?
Yeah, kiss her. Do the right thing, Kathy. Tell him to do the right thing.
This is the most damning evidence, if you ask me. Because I've mentioned, he's on the trail, he's wearing blue jeans, but now they're sort of saying, okay, you were at the crime scene, this is your bullet, and that's the only thing I'm thinking, okay, well, that's pretty damning. It has to be him.
Yeah, it is damning, yeah. Ricky and Kathy, they immediately get onto a lawyer, and the lawyer says, don't worry, I'll get Ricky out of here tonight, don't stress. But then he calls Kathy back that night, and he says, listen, I can't get him out. They're going to charge him with murder.
Today was a sigh of relief for the families, investigators, and the Delphi community. 50-year-old Richard Allen has been charged with 2 counts of murder. Investigators say he was hiding in plain sight.
The families and, really everybody in the community, they're floored that this person, he could have murdered 2 girls and just continue to live and work in the community like nothing had happened.
Yeah, and there's a news report, and there's one photo of Richard, and he's at a pub, and there's a sketch on the wall behind him, the sketch of the perpetrator that they had, and the reporter's talking about it like it's this big deal. It's like, well, it doesn't look anything like him. Like I said earlier, it's a guy in his 20s with curly blonde hair. Richard's bald in his 40s or so, and short and fat, stocky guy. Like, okay, they couldn't be more further apart from each other, you know?
The reporters, they're reporting it like he's taunting them, like posing with this photo and like, I got away with it. But it's just in the background of a pub. Like, I'm sure those photos were plastered everywhere in town.
Oh, absolutely, they would have been.
Plus, Ricky, he worked 1 block from the police station, and he worked at, was it CVS Pharmacy? I think it was, like this big pharmacy. Apparently, it's the most frequented shop in town. So a lot of people are thinking, if it was this guy, like, wouldn't we have worked it out earlier? Because he's talking to the locals and the cops all the time. It seems like the only thing that put Ricky Allen on the police's radar is himself coming into the police with the information that he was on the trails that day to help out the case. Police claim the file was mislabeled and lost for 5 years until this volunteer was looking through them and stumbled across it.
Kathy Shank was retired and devoting her time volunteering for the cold case.
When you opened up that drawer, what went through your mind?
I realized that I had not heard of this person.
She recognized what no one had recognized before.
She saw that this was someone putting himself at the scene of the crime.
Yeah, the volunteer that finds this info must go to the same spray tan joint as Donald Trump, because she looks like she's part of the Oompa Loompa clan. It's terrible. You can see the obvious spray tan marks on her face. Poor old woman.
God, you're hating on people today.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So, mind you, like, thousands and thousands of tips were coming in. I think we said before there's like 30,000 tips. And this was the only piece that had Ricky's name on it. And it was coming from him, coming to the police. Anyway, the sheriff said that they knew they had the right person as soon as Ricky told them what he was wearing, like with his blue jeans and his jacket. But to me, it seems like Ricky's honesty is hurting him, because if he could have easily said, I don't remember, it was 5 years ago. Like, who the fuck would remember what I was wearing then? Or he could have said, I wasn't wearing blue jeans. Like, yeah, I was wearing pink tracksuit pants with juicy written across the butt.
Your favourite.
My favourite. They're my go-to tracksuit pants. But, it didn't help the case when he refused to give them his phone and a voluntary DNA sample. And then that's when they issued the search warrant, and they discovered the gun, which was apparently tied to the unspent bullet at the crime scene. But, would an unspent bullet show the markings of the gun? I thought it'd just be like a bullet, if it was fired, would show those markings.
They're saying that when a gun is cocked and the unspent bullet is ejected, when it's cocked, it does make markings inside the gun itself. And they're suggesting that he did that to scare them at the scene. He's cocked the gun to show them that it's loaded and those markings. But I don't know, to be honest. So I've never heard of that before. I've heard plenty of cases where, they can put a bullet to a gun through the barrel, but never an unspent casing.
Yeah.
Unless it was really unusual ammunition. Yeah, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Now remember, the girls weren't shot. They were stabbed. But we believe the perpetrator may have racked his gun to intimidate them, which could have caused a bullet to fall out at the crime scene.
When a bullet goes through a gun, whether it's ejected from a gun or fired from a gun, the gun can leave certain markings. And you can use those markings to match a bullet to a gun.
Okay, well, I guess that answers that.
Isn't that what I just said?
Yeah. You are so smart and handsome.
Thank you.
They get this guy, Sean, from the forensics firearms department, and he thinks
Sean.
He thinks the report done on the bullet casing was done well, but people challenge the science all the time because there's a real error rate with it as well. So having another test or study done on the casing and the gun would have been beneficial for them.
Yeah, I had this thought about if they think it's junk science, so to speak, how do they test these people that are testing the markings? Like, do they do some sort of, okay, we've got one firearm here that links to this bullet. We're going to give them 200 guns, and they've got to pick out the firearm that links to this bullet. Because they must have done testing before, and the accuracy must be really high in order for them to use it in courts and to be used as, quoted evidence.
Yeah, but they said there's so much error in it. They said this theory gets thrown out a lot.
Yeah, so then why is it being used as the holy grail or the smoking gun, so to speak, in this case?
Because apart from the blue jeans, this is all I've got.
The old juicy butt blue jeans.
The lead detective, he said he found it odd that during the search of the house, Ricky said to him, it doesn't matter if you damage anything or make a mess because it's all over anyway. Apparently, everyone in town thinks I'm guilty, so my life's over.
We know you have anger issues, and your depression has gotten considerably worse since this incident.
Well, it's gotten really bad.
I could see why. If I killed two girls, I would get...
Oh, my God.
I would have depression, too. I would have mental issues, too.
You know what? I don't really care about living at this point. And with what you guys have done to me, kill me. I don't give a fuck.
When I really got angry is when he said that you're going to pay for this, and I said no.
I'm not paying for any of this shit. You're paying. This is on you. This ain't on me. It's fucking on you, Rick. You had your fucking opportunity.
We hear from Ricky's defense team, Andy Baldwin, Jennifer Auger, and Brad Rossi.
Normal names.
Yeah, finally. They go down and they see Ricky in prison. They said he was confused about why he's there and how it just got to this. He was pleading with them that he's innocent, and the attorneys, they believed him too. Like, he had zero criminal history and no reports of violence.
Yeah, and when does a defense attorney not believe their client? Openly. And they poo-pooed the so-called bombshell with the volunteer finding that file as well, because Richard had voluntarily given that info. Yeah. So that they were poo-pooing that, and yeah, they 100% believed him. I think they came out just feeling awful for him.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. They go through the probable cause affidavit and they're shocked that there's no other suspects' names listed on there, even though in another file from the police, there were at least 10 viable suspects. This guy, Ron Logan, he was another suspect in the case and could have been on the scene that day because the two girls' bodies that were found were on Ron's property. Ron, he was known by the police due to being violent with women, and he also had problems with drink driving. He was questioned by the police, and he told them his alibi was that his cousin picked him up and they went to some fish store out of town, and he was nowhere near the crime scene where the murders took place. I mean,
but being a drunk driver, is that enough to be labelled a potential murderer? And also, if you're going to kill these girls on your own property, like, are you really just going to leave the bodies out in the open? Like, I feel like he had the means to be able to hide the bodies more than just a random walking by.
Nah, he's a drunk.
Yeah, he's a drunk. But they also did. The thing is, they also did mention about the treacherous terrain. Like, I can't imagine, because this bloke looked pretty old. It looked like he was on death's door. I can't imagine him dragging the bodies through the woods to hide them. So yeah.
But the cops, they go check on Ron's alibi with his cousin, and he confirms what Ron had told them. But after being pressed a little bit more, he admits that Ron asked him to lie for him.
More than a dozen officers from local, state, and federal agencies are serving a search warrant right now on that home right there. You can see that White House.
They found some odd things in the house. A large amount of guns and knives were located in his residence. Those guns filled the back of our Sheriff's Department minivan from the floor to the ceiling, plus the front seat.
It's so many guns. It filled the back of the van and the front seat. How many fucking guns does one person need?
Oh, that many.
a gun rack.
I didn't even know an air gun, let alone many guns.
In Ron's house, they also discovered a calendar with the girls' names written on it and circled on the day that the girls were found.
Dodgy.
Yeah, very dodgy. The FBI, they said that his phone was pinged at the bridge at 2:09, which was 4 minutes before Libby took that video. Ron, you're fucking going down, mate. You're our guy.
Yep.
Later that evening at 10:16 p.m., Ron apparently received a text message that put him in close proximity to where the girls' bodies were found as well.
Yeah, this is so sketch. But you got to remember, this is his property.
Yes.
So he literally lives right where the girls are found. They show a bird's eye view. He must have a huge property. It's quite big. And his house is, I don't know how many 100 yards away. I'll say yards because that's probably how they refer to it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure with the cell towers how accurate they can be. How can they put him on the bridge at that time, that exact location?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I
you
don't
just
know
get
how that
a region or an area.
Exactly.
Yeah. But even Ron's girlfriend, apparently she called the police like 3 or 4 times saying, I know that bridge guy is Ron. Like, I've seen the video and that's him.
Wow.
So the police, they did a search of Ron's property and apparently didn't come up with anything that tied him to the murder. And I mean, as you said before, the cell phone pings were unreliable because the reception was terrible in that area. Apparently he'd lied to the police because the day of the murder he'd been driving around without a license and he didn't want to get in trouble for that. And he actually served a year in prison for that. I couldn't believe it. Driving around unlicensed.
Yeah, but obviously he had shit on his record and he was he was on probation. But being on probation and then driving unlicensed, for him to serve a year's jail, fuck, cop that.
That's
Ronnie.
fucking mental. Yeah. So Ron, he did his prison time and he died a couple of years later in 2022.
Yeah, that's a shame.
I mean, I think he's still a viable suspect. Because that CCTV footage of him driving around was about 3 hours before the girls were killed. So
and he went to the tip. Yeah, throwing bags of rubbish out of the back of the ute.
Probably
who knows what he was throwing
with
out.
Old mushroom lady. What was her name?
Yeah.
But Ron, he wasn't the only suspect the police had.
It was my sleepover that we were at when my sister and her friend were talking to someone on the internet, and Liberty and I were kind of just like in the background watching, observing. And they, thought he was fun and cool. And he was like, oh, I have another friend I think you guys would like, which was Anthony Schatz. And so then they were like DMing him. And he had said that he was from around here. And Liberty was like, I don't know him. And I know everyone around here. So then she was like, well, let me DM him. He was giving them 2 different answers. Oh, I'm from Delphi, or oh, I'm from Lafayette. It was just like he didn't know where he was from. It started to make them question, who am I talking to?
This guy was chatting to the girls under the name of Anthony Schatz, and he'd stolen an image of a teenager that kind of looks like Justin Bieber to try and catfish young girls.
Yeah, so stupid. And they should have known that they were being catfished when he replied that he thought your grandma lookalike was cute. That's a dead giveaway for me. I love how close your eyes are together.
They're like on top of one another. Libby and Libby and this catfish guy, they were chatting back and forth, sharing images. But in reality, she was talking to a guy named Keegan Klein. And he was an unemployed guy in his 20s that lived at his dad's house about 30 minutes outside of the town of Delphi. And this guy looks exactly how you picture him in your minds. He doesn't look like he's showered for days. He dips his hair in pure oil, and he's got Dorito dust still around his mouth.
He's emo comic book guy. That's what he reminded me of. Worst catfish ever.
So Keegan, he liked to catfish young girls to try and get nude photos and any other, sexual info from them. The police actually raided Keegan's house close to 2 weeks after the murders, and they discovered hundreds of photos and videos of naked underage girls. And he was charged with 30 felonies and sentenced to 40 years in prison.
Man, that's crazy. 30 felonies and only got 40 years, whereas old mate Ronnie drives unlicensed and gets a full year. This seems a bit odd. I think he should get in a bit more than 40 years for 30 felonies, but especially pictures and that, being a pedophile, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Should be life for sure.
Yeah.
So the police, they proved that he wasn't involved in the girls' murders. And to me, he didn't look like Bridge Guy anyway.
Yeah, that's true. He was the fat troll living under the bridge.
Yeah, definitely. And plus, if he came up and said, down the hill, no way he'd be able to speak like that. He'd be fucking huffing and puffing, yeah. Oh, God, I need a Gatorade and a packet of Doritos stat. So, meanwhile, back at the defense attorney's office, they've discovered that 70 days of key interviews were lost by the police. The dumb fuck police that appear to be run by Chief Wiggum, they claimed, oh no, we didn't intentionally erase or lose the evidence at all. It was just a big whoopsie.
Put all the interviews on his imaginary typewriter. And he says that it's unfortunate, but it happens. It happens in every investigation. And I'm like, what do you mean it happens in every investigation? What are we doing here?
This is very worrying, Chief Wiggum. The cops, they also didn't collect the sticks that were laying on top of the girls immediately after either, which, they could have had the DNA, hair, clothing fibers, they could have contained anything.
Very true, yeah.
They just didn't have a handle on the complexity and the scope of the investigation. And then you invite the public into that investigation, which they did.
There were thousands of tips.
They couldn't manage that.
There was too much information, and it wasn't organized, and it just made for a complete mess of an investigation.
None of the errors or technical difficulties that we had were intentional.
So I question everything that those guys did. But meanwhile, Richard is in this prison up in northern Indiana, and he just started to deteriorate.
But none of these excuses for their incompetence was helping Richard Allen in prison, because he was sitting there in isolation, deteriorating. His mental health was declining fast, and he was described as a zombie when people visited him.
Yeah. Picture a broken man. That's Richard Allen in this part here. He just looks like a shell of his former self. He's super gaunt, and he looks 10 years older than he did in those interrogation videos.
Yeah. So Kathy, she gets a phone call from Ricky in prison.
Hello, this is a free call from
Ricky,
an inmate at the Indiana Department of Corrections, Westville Correctional Facility. Honey?
Yeah.
Are you there? Are you there?
Yes, babe. Yeah, babe.
What's going on?
I just wanted to apologize to you.
What's going on, sweetheart? Are you not
I did
feeling
it.
well? You did
No,
what?
I did it.
What?
I killed Abby. I killed Abby and Libby.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't, Darren. They've messed up your meds or something there. Why would you say that?
Because I think I did.
No, you didn't. You know you didn't.
I wish I could say I didn't. I don't know.
You don't know. See, exactly. There's something wrong. They're screwing with you. They're trying to get you to say things. Don't talk anymore. I need to get hold of somebody there.
Poor Kathy. She seems in denial with what he's saying on the phone, even though he does sound drug-fucked. It doesn't sound right of mind. But I think even with irrefutable evidence, she wouldn't be able to face it.
Yeah. It's not the Ricky that she knows. He couldn't have done
not
this.
at all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Ricky, he's starting to think he possibly could have killed them, but he just doesn't know. Like, he already struggled with mental illness before all of this happened. And then since being arrested, the rapid decline of his mental health is just terrible. He's been kept in solitary confinement for so long as well. That wouldn't be helping.
No.
The Human Rights Watch group asked an independent clinical psychologist to tour the Westville Supermax prison, and they were horrified by what they saw in there. They said there was no real windows and there's just a deafening silence in the cells. With the United Nations standards, apparently more than 15 days in solitary confinement is a human rights abuse and classed as torture. Ricky Allen was in solitary confinement for 13 months.
That's fucking nuts, man.
That's unbelievable. Like, apparently should be max 15 days, and he was in there for 13 months.
How do they get away with that?
Yeah. The psychologist said that some people will break down within a day or two. Most people would break down within a month and are going to develop like serious mental health problems. 13 months, it's just unimaginable.
Yeah, I can't even go take a shit without taking my phone with me now. Imagine being in a cell with your own thoughts for that long.
Yeah, and deathly silence too. Yeah, fuck
no,
that. They ask the warden of the prison, and he just doesn't give a shit.
I mean, 13 months is a long time, but guys do it for 30 years too. I was former warden, Westville Correctional Facility. Westville houses about 3,200 incarcerated individuals, from low to maximum security. It's not a bed and breakfast. He got his rec time every day if he chooses. He got showers every day. He saw mental health every day. He had more contact than most.
I don't like this guy at all. Yeah, you need to be tough to be a warden. This is a super tough guy, isn't he? But he has zero empathy. So it looks like he's the type of guy that doesn't believe in rehabilitation at all.
Yeah.
And he's running this fucking dodgy-ass prison that's putting people in solitary confinement. I think he makes a comment, something about what people have been doing it for 30 years or whatever. He has no empathy, and I sort of agree with him in a sense where you've done the crime, you've got to do the time. But Ricky hasn't even gone through a trial yet. And
yeah,
he's in
that's
solitary
true. I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to innocent until proven guilty?
I know.
Fucking hell. So the police, they're obviously thrilled with his confessions in prison, but the doctors said that in the psychiatric world, they would be very skeptical about the comments coming from a person in the midst of a mental health crisis. The defense, they're still working on these mountains of files, and they actually discover a report labeled the Odin Report. The Odin Report, it suggests that there were some like ritualistic markings at the scene from how the girls' bodies were positioned, and as the branches over the top of them in the patterns, like we said. Also the F, or the possible F in blood on the tree. And Odin was a Norse pagan religion that worshipped the gods of Odin and Thor. And they speak to a couple of cult religion experts, and they're just absolutely jizzing over this fucking theory. But I mean, I didn't see much in it. I think they were just grasping at straws with this theory.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I didn't see anything there either.
Yeah.
Like, apparently, and they got this expert, and she's saying, that like police aren't equipped to be able to see this type of evidence, and I think they're just looking for something because the crime scene in itself didn't make a lot of sense.
No. I mean, and the police, they actually interviewed a few guys that were connected to this religion, including a guy named Brad Holder. And Abby was actually friends with his son. And after the murders, he was posting a couple of strange things on Facebook. He posted like a little meme or a picture that said, "Friends help friends move bodies." And he also posted like a couple of photos of guns and Odin symbols. So very, very strange. But even stranger than this, not long after the murders, he posted a photo of two girls laying on the ground in pretty similar positions to how Abby and Libby were found, and they had branches on top of them as well.
Yeah.
Very, very odd behavior.
Yeah.
Member of the group he's interviewed, and he says that the religion, it's 100% nature-based, and there's no sacrificing or violence at all. The police, they looked into them, and their alibis were just airtight. They couldn't even place them in the town of Delphi the day of the murders.
Yeah, and they don't really match the description of the guy on the bridge either.
No,
He seems older. He doesn't look as tall as these guys, because the guy on the bridge, he looks more stocky. But these guys is like tall and just big.
Yeah,
they're army guys.
Yeah, exactly. So the defense attorneys, they try to present this theory to the judge to allow them to use it as evidence as a different theory in the trial.
This morning, a new twist in the Delphi double murders. Allen's attorneys filing a 136-page motion on Monday where they claim the girls were ritualistically sacrificed by members of a pagan Norse religion called Odinism.
It read like a gripping novel of this Odinism conspiracy that sacrificed these two young girls.
136 pages. Do you reckon the judge receives these and just goes, I'm not reading all that?
Oh,
Murder she wrote on.
Murder she wrote. What a fucking throwback. But ultimately, the appeal to use it's denied.
Why would the judge deny the possibility of considering other suspects? There must be a reason for it. But the only thing I can think of is that the police had already done their due diligence on these other possible suspects and they had dismissed it. And they do say that in the documentary, but they don't really. Like the defense lawyers, we don't understand it. But for a judge to be swayed that way, the judge is always on the prosecutor's side anyway.
Yeah, I understand that you've got to present it to say, can we use it? Because, you can't just start the trial and go, it could have been aliens. It could have been this.
That's true.
You've got to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's October the 18th, and it's the day of the trial now. 8 years after the murders of Abby and Libby. Police outside and online are just completely divided if Richard Allen is guilty or not. The prosecution, they're relying on that Richard put himself at the scene at the time of the murders. And they're hoping that the science of the bullet markings is taken on board. And they also have the CCTV footage of a car driving near the bridge at the time of the murders also. And they claim it's Richard's car. But, it's so far away and grainy. It could be fucking anything.
I bang on about this all the time. I've mentioned it multiple times about this CCTV. And for these investigators going, yeah, that's the make and model. Yeah, that's definitely that person. I'm looking at going, I cannot tell. And I think one of the defense lawyers mentions that. You can't tell.
No, you can't
if that's
at all.
His car or not, definitively.
Yeah. If you're looking at something and want it to be true, it'll be true. Like, it'll be 100%. That. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So the defense, on the other hand, they're arguing that this apparent bullet is the only thing tying Richard to the crime. There's literally no forensic evidence connecting him at all. And even the prosecutor's theory of the spent bullet markings is flawed as well.
Whether you want to believe the bullet was a direct match or a direct tie, that was heavily debated in court. But there was forensic evidence that proved that it did come from his gun.
The defense attorneys for Richard Allen really tried to call into question whether firearm examination is a trusted science, saying that there's room for subjectivity.
That discipline is far from an exact science, and really relying on that uncycled round to convict this guy would have been reckless.
If that's the best they have to do, they're in trouble.
This magic bullet, to me, was shaky ground.
I mentioned this on the Amanda Knox case, but you do wonder if the families have any doubt or if it's just like blind rage and desire to have someone just to be made accountable. Because the evidence, in my opinion, is subjective. And if you have a side, like you'll pick a side, you'll twist the evidence, in a way that supports your narrative. Yeah, and as a non-biased observer of this case, I'm not convinced with the bullet marking science.
Neither am I, no. And I think the grandma, Becky, makes point to say that she spoke to Nick, the prosecutor, and she said, do you believe that Richard is our guy? If you believe it's him, then we trust you.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you have your own mind made up with the evidence?
Yeah, you'd think so. The prosecutor's the one that goes, yeah, we're taking this to trial. So for him, he needs to be, yes, definitely we've got enough. This is enough to convict this man. And I don't know, just for me on the outside looking in, even though the documentary's slightly swayed, and we can talk about that later, it's just not enough for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. So the prosecution, they also had the confessions that Richard made while in prison, which, as we all know, the defense discredited as he was mentally ill.
Richard Allen allegedly said that he left his mother's house, and on the way home, he stopped to get a six-pack of beer, drank 3 at home, and then headed out to the trails and bundled up. While he was on the trail, he saw Abby and Libby and eventually followed them onto the bridge, where he encountered them and then took them down the hill. And he said in his confession to her, his intention was sexual in nature and wanted to rape them. And he saw a van arriving at the end of this very long private driveway, which caused him to cross over to the north side of the creek, where eventually the girls' bodies were found.
But even the psychiatrist that received the confessions acknowledged that he was suffering from a state of psychosis and he was losing touch with reality. But it's all in the hands of the jurors now, and they deliberate for 4 days. They come back with the verdict of guilty on all counts, and Richard is sentenced to 130 years in prison for the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German.
I don't know how I feel about it. And even though the burden of proof is on the state, I always feel that the defense is disadvantaged. It never really seems fair. I mean, but that could also be because most of the trials are dealing with a guilty party. But this is a jury trial. And picture being a juror for 1 minute. You're sitting in a courtroom that has the victims' families in it, looking for your support to convict the man that 99% of the people in that room thinks or knows is guilty. And are you going to be that one juror that says not guilty in a room of 12? Like, I understand it's high stakes, but most people would cave under that pressure.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how many people are out there right now that voted against their own beliefs just due to peer pressure alone.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's a lot. And yeah. I'm not saying that they're right. There's definitely people that have gotten off when guilty, but I bet my fucking sweet ass that there's a lot more innocent people in jail from a jury trial than guilty people getting off scot-free.
Yeah, definitely. So do you think, I mean, after watching this documentary, do you think Richard is the guy?
I don't know. Okay, let's say he did do it. Yeah, let's look into that. Like, what's his motive? So is it a thrill killing? Because he didn't sexually assault these girls. Yeah, it's unusual that Libby was naked and Abby was wearing Libby's clothes. Why did they swap clothing? Maybe you mentioned before that maybe he ran out of time or got spooked. And then you look at the evidence against him. So he was there, yeah, but he admitted that. He was wearing clothing similar to Bridge Guy. Again, another admission. The bullet, I've got in commas, like inverted commas on my notes, like junk science. And then you got the confessions, which seemed flimsy as fucked as well.
Yeah.
You know, and they said he changed his timeline, but that could be for 2 reasons. He knows roughly what time the murders happened due to the police and, say, like media releasing details, and he could have been trying to avoid suspicion, like guilty or not, or it's been 5 years, and even if it was a memorable day, because everyone remembers if something like that happened in your town, your timeline might change just due to memory loss.
Yeah.
But look, to answer your question, I'm swaying towards that he did it. And that's really just based on a gut reaction.
Yeah, okay.
But am I sitting there as a juror convicting this man? No, I'm not.
Yeah, I couldn't convict him either. I swayed big time with this. I finished watching it the first time saying, no way he did it. They've got the wrong person. They're just trying to close the case because I've got pressure on them. The second time, I swayed a lot more. So I still don't know.
Yeah, and I've since watching and jumping on TikTok and Instagram that we will put this on our socials as well, listening to a voice comparison with Bridge Guy and Richard Allen. And I mean, it's so hard to tell, but I can sort of hear Richard's voice in the Down the Hill bit, but because it's so grainy, and the audio that they have of Richard Allen is from him being in the interrogation room and that, it's not brilliant as well. And like I was saying, a lot of the evidence is subjective. Like you listen to it yourself and think, yeah, you could easily be swayed either way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to, we might do a poll because I'd love to hear what people think about this one.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We love a poll.
We do love a poll.
What were your thoughts on the documentary as a whole rather than the case itself?
I liked it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a 3-parter, so it was a bit long. But yeah, I was really interested all the way through. I found out a lot more about the case than I thought I did. Obviously followed it a little bit while it was happening in real time. So it was really good to see. I went into it thinking Richard Allen is 100% guilty. He's going to be an evil, sadistic man. Then I came out not thinking that at all.
Yeah, I know what you mean. For me, the documentary swayed on Richard Allen's side. So I can understand why people would walk away after watching it and either have doubts or zero doubt of his innocence. So it sort of reminded me, it wasn't as bad as Making a Murderer with Stephen Avery bias.
Yeah.
But it certainly leaned in favor of Richard Allen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So what do we have next week, mate?
Well, we've got, it's another sort of mysterious one in a sense. It's just very unusual. But we are looking into the documentary The Basement, A Vanishing in Apple Valley.
I'm so excited for this one. The trailer is so intriguing.
Yeah, I know. When I first saw it, I was just thinking, what the fuck is going on? And you really think it's probably going to be one of those mystery ones where you don't know what happened. But I'm going to spoil it for you. We do find out what happened. So
excellent.
don't think we're going to get no closure from this, because we do get closure.
Sheriff Barber's office.
Hi, this is Valerie Haythorne.
Yeah.
I'm at her house. It is covered in blood.
Hold on a second.
I need somebody out here.
We have 2 children missing, the woman that lives at a house, and now a neighbor friend, all missing.
Excuse me, 4 people? In a remote part of Ohio? That just doesn't happen.
Everywhere we go, dead end. Dead end. Dead end. We have 0 suspects, 0 evidence. All we know is that we have 4 missing people. There's a lot of blood. It's pretty much a race against time to find anybody alive.
Are they alive? Are they dead?
The first thing that I am struck by is there are tons of leaves everywhere. This was an unbelievable set of circumstances. It's like a house of horror. I'm sorry.
Mate, I'm looking forward to getting into that one with you. Another great episode. Thanks for everyone listening. Thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. But until next time, Chris, try not to murder anyone.
You too, mate. All right. Love ya.
Bye.